The elevator incident on April 7th, 2025. A group of high school seniors in Cleveland, Ohio gathered after a late-night graduation party in a downtown apartment building. The celebration had lasted for hours, fueled by cheap beer, loud music, and reckless dares that no one thought would go too far. The celebration had lasted for hours, fueled by cheap beer, loud music, and reckless dares that no one thought would go too far. When the bottle stopped, it landed on 19-year-old Ethan Miller, known for never backing down from a challenge. His best friend dared him to ride the service elevator alone, from the basement to the roof, without pressing the emergency button, even if something went wrong. Laughter filled the corridor as Ethan stumbled toward the elevator, phone in hand to record his victory. The doors closed with a metallic thud, trapping him inside the narrow box that smelled of oil and burnt metal. As the elevator descended, it jolted violently, shaking the camera in his hand. Nervous laughter turned into silence. The lights flickered out, plunging him into darkness except for the cold blue glow of his phone screen. His friends upstairs heard a loud metallic bang, followed by the faint echo of his scream. Thinking it was a prank, they shouted for him to come out and stop pretending. But inside, Ethan's video showed the elevator lurching again, cables straining like black veins against the ceiling. He whispered, "It's still moving," right before the entire car dropped 3 floors in a single jerk. The impact shattered the floor plate, pinning him between twisted steel and concrete. Security footage later revealed the doors half open, smoke rising, and a faint light still glowing from his phone. Firefighters arrived within minutes but found the elevator jammed between floors and flooded with hydraulic fluid. Ethan was pronounced dead at the scene. Another dare turned disaster that friends would replay endlessly in guilt and horror. In the weeks that followed, the building owner welded the service elevator shut, leaving behind scratched graffiti reading, "Never again, 2 a.m." The freezer dare incident. On February 9th, 2025, a group of college freshmen from Boise, Idaho, gathered inside a small off-campus house for a winter party. The temperature outside was below freezing, but inside the mood was hot with alcohol, dares, and reckless laughter. The game of truth or dare started as harmless fun, awkward confessions, silly dares, nothing dangerous yet. Then someone dared 20-year-old Logan Reed to spend 10 minutes locked inside the restaurant-sized walk-in freezer behind the kitchen. Everyone laughed, thinking the challenge ridiculous. But Logan grabbed a beer and said, "Film it. I'll show you how it's done." The heavy door shut behind him with a hiss, and the latch clicked from the outside. At first he posed for the camera, raising his can in mock victory, laughing through the frosty air. But minutes dragged on. The laughter outside faded into muffled echoes beyond the steel. He knocked playfully at first, then harder, realizing the handle wouldn't budge. Inside the freezer, his phone battery died, leaving him alone with the hum of the cooling fans. Outside, friends argued whether to let him out yet or wait the full 10 minutes. For the video, when they finally opened the door, a wave of cold mist spilled into the room like ghostly smoke. Logan was on the floor, skin-tinted gray, hands frozen mid-clutch around the empty beer can. One friend screamed, another slipped on the frost while trying to pull him out. Paramedics arrived within minutes, but his core temperature had dropped fatally low. The coroner ruled the death accidental hypothermia, triggered by intoxication and isolation. The video of the dare leaked online within days, viewed over 1 million times before being deleted. The freezer was later removed from the property, but scorch marks from emergency heaters still stained the floor, a cold reminder of a hot-headed dare. The Bridge Dare Incident. On July 3rd, 2024, 5 friends from Charleston, South Carolina, met near an abandoned river bridge to film summer dares for social media. The challenge was simple. Whoever backed out of the dare had to jump into the river below. 19-year-old Alyssa Carter, a local college student, agreed to walk across the narrow metal beam that ran beneath the main bridge floor. She laughed nervously, whispering, "Don't post it if I fall," unaware how real those words would become. The beam was slick with rust and rainwater from a passing storm, the metal bending slightly under her weight. The group cheered as she took each shaky step, her arms stretched wide like a tightrope walker. Halfway across, a gust of wind swept through, sending her balance teetering dangerously. "Hold on," someone shouted, but her shoe scraped the slick metal and she fell. She struck a lower girder before plunging into the dark water, vanishing with a single splash. Her friends screamed her name, but the current was fast, pulling everything toward the concrete pillars. One friend jumped in to search but was dragged under by debris before being pulled out by others. By the time rescue crews arrived, the night sky had turned completely black, lit only by flashing red lights. Divers located Alyssa's body hours later, tangled in driftwood near a support column. The coroner ruled it an accidental drowning, though locals claimed the bridge had taken lives before. Within days, the video of her fall spread across the internet, shared with the hashtag #BridgeDare. The city sealed off the bridge entrance with concrete barriers and warning signs. Friends of Alyssa built a small memorial there. Candles, photos, and her favorite pink scarf tied to the railing. But on quiet nights, locals still hear laughter echoing from below the bridge, a whisper from a dare that went too far. The Lake House Dare. On August 17, 2023, 6 friends from Lake Tahoe, Nevada rented a small cabin for a weekend getaway filled with dares, drinks, and danger. The night began with laughter and loud music echoing across the still surface of the lake. They played Truth or Dare with a half-empty bottle and a rule. Every dare had to be recorded for proof. When it landed on Jake Harper, he was dared to swim to the middle of the lake and stay there for 1 full minute. The air was cold and the lake was black as ink under the moonlight, but Jake dove in without hesitation. His friends cheered as he disappeared into the dark, the sound of water swallowing his every movement. Half a minute later, the laughter stopped when he didn't resurface. Someone shouted his name, but the only reply was the low hum of wind and water. A friend grabbed a flashlight and pointed it across the surface. The beam caught something pale drifting just below. They screamed as the shape twisted, a face wide-eyed, frozen in terror. 2 of them jumped in, but panic took over. The cold hit like knives, and they thrashed helplessly. By the time they pulled Jake out, his body was stiff, his skin pale and lips blue. They called 911, but the nearest rescue boat took over 20 minutes to arrive. The paramedics tried reviving him, but his pulse never returned. His minute in the water had lasted too long. The video, recorded by one of the friends, later showed Jake laughing seconds before his last dive. Authorities ruled the death an accidental drowning caused by shock and exhaustion. The lake house was abandoned after that night, locals claiming they still hear splashing when the wind picks up. To this day, the friends refuse to speak about the Lake Dare, erasing the video, but the lake never forgot. The elevator incident. On October 18, 2024, in Cleveland, Ohio, 4 high school seniors decided to spend the night exploring an abandoned hotel that had been closed for over a decade. The building, known locally as the Hollow Pines Inn, was rumored to be haunted after several guests vanished in the 90s. Inside, the air was thick with dust and decay, the floorboards creaking under their sneakers. They recorded everything on their phones, laughing nervously as one friend suggested they play Truth or Dare. The first few dares were harmless, touching broken mirrors, whispering into dark rooms, until someone pointed toward the old elevator at the end of the hall. Its doors were rusted shut, the buttons still faintly lit by emergency power. "I dare you to ride it," one of them said, half joking, but serious enough to make the others uneasy after a tense silence. Tyler, the most daring, smirked and stepped forward, saying, "If it moves, I'll ride it." The others laughed as Tyler forced the doors open. The elevator groaned, dust falling like ash. He stepped inside, holding the sides as the light flickered from yellow to red. Someone dared him to press the basement button, a floor that didn't exist on the old hotel map. Tyler laughed, pressing it as the doors rattled shut and the elevator began to descend. Seconds later, the laughter stopped. The elevator lights flickered violently, and the sound of grinding metal echoed through the shaft. One friend screamed as red liquid began dripping from the ceiling vent. They pried the doors open. The elevator was gone, only an empty shaft yawning below. A single shoe lay on the edge, its laces dangling into darkness. Authorities later found the elevator smashed at the bottom of the shaft, twisted beyond recognition. Tyler's body was discovered pinned beneath the wreckage, his phone still recording the entire fall.